want to say 30 years in ministry, 22. We'll round up. We have prosperity consciousness. So 22 years in ministry down, some of that at Creative Living Fellowship down in Phoenix, which is an independent Science of Mind center. She recently stepped away to pursue her passion of working with women to awaken their divine feminine. And so, ladies, she is doing a free workshop just for us after service. I'm going to hang out. I'm going to change my shoes, but I'm going to hang out. And so I'm just so wildly excited and blessed to have Dr. Michelle here with us today.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It is such a delight, a thrill, an honor, a privilege to be here this morning. And I have to tell you that in a certain way, today is my coming out. What
go,
does
girl.
she mean by that? Well, as Reverend Kathleen, my dear, dear friend, and by the way, as a quick aside, you do know the blessing that you have here with Reverend Kathleen, don't you? She is truly amazing. And you are truly amazing. This is such a profoundly beautiful and powerful center here up in, okay, is it Prescott or Prescott?
Yes.
I only lived in Arizona for 60 years, but it's been Phoenix. Anyway, why is it my coming out? Because in October of last year, October 21st, as a matter of fact, I stepped aside as a pulpit minister after having been Creative Living Fellowship's minister for 22 years. And I stepped aside, and I have not been on a pulpit since. So this is my first time back. I hope I remember how to do this. That's all I can say about that. And if I don't, you guys will help me out a little bit, yes?
Yes.
Thank you. All right. Multiplicity in the one is what we're going to talk about today. Multiplicity in the one. And I always like beginning our time together with a couple of quotes from our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes. These come from the Science of Mind textbook. The first one says, there is one substance. And when Dr. Holmes wanted to get, well, hi girls, I just saw Marilyn and Sharon, and Dr. Betty, hello, oh my goodness, hello, and Linda, and okay, who else do I know? Let me look, okay, all right, yes, and it's good to see you too, yes, all right, sorry, distract. Don't get distracted. Whenever Ernest wanted to really emphasize something, he would put it in all caps, right? So he wants you really to get it, he would put it in all caps. So one substance, that's in all caps. There is one substance in the universe taking different forms and shapes and becoming different things. Unity is expressed in multiplicity. But, this is in another part of the book, but it fits so perfectly, so I'm just continuing on. But the world of multiplicity does not contradict the world of unity, for the many live as one. This concept of unity is the mystical secret of the ages, the key to spiritual wisdom. So if I were going to paraphrase Ernest and offer my version of the secret, the mystical secret of the ages, or the key to spiritual wisdom, I would say that each one of us is exactly the same in God and uniquely different as God. We'll let that drop in. Yeah, thank you. Where were you in my 22 years of ministry? People didn't do that. I like that. Each one of us is exactly the same in God and uniquely different as God. Absolutely the same. Absolutely the same. It doesn't matter what gender we are, what race we are, what sexual orientation we are, what economic status we are, whatever. It doesn't matter. We are absolutely the same in God. So I want you to I like congregant participation. I kind of like that. I don't want anybody falling asleep on me here. Okay. So this is congregant participation time. I just want you to turn to somebody and say, you and I are exactly the same in God. Turn to somebody.
You and I are exactly the same in God.
You and I are exactly the same in God.
I'm not sure if we got the line right, but I like it.
And just find one more person to do that with, just to really anchor that. You and I are exactly the same in God.
You and I are exactly the same in God. And so are you, and so are you, and so are you.
And now, there's always a risk of losing complete control when I have people do that, but I risk it anyway. And now, do you all know Amy Cuddy? She's a research scientist, did a couple of TED Talks, talked about the power pose. Do you ever, I love the power pose. The power pose, she has different things, but the power pose that really, so the research that she did was like when we move our physical body in a certain way, we bring up energy and we bring up emotion and we bring up different things and we send different messages. And so the power pose is this, right? Arms out. And if you're standing, feet apart a bit and out. So I want to power pose this. And if you feel so inclined, you just go right ahead and stand up. If you don't want to stand up, that's okay. You can just do it seated. Here's the only caveat. Don't whack anybody in the face as you do this. It's the only thing we have to be careful about. So arms out. Stand up if you want. I am uniquely different as God.
I am uniquely different as God.
And now one more time like you really mean it. I am uniquely different as God. I celebrate my unique difference.
I celebrate my unique difference.
Yeah.
So there.
Go home. No, we're not done yet. Yeah.
After the collection.
Today we are celebrating you. Celebrating you. Your own uniqueness. I like acronyms. Y-O-U. Your own uniqueness.
I like it.
And in case you haven't had enough coffee this morning and you're not quite awake yet, if you haven't gotten the key idea for today, it is your uniqueness in our oneness. So I want to talk a little bit about celebrating your uniqueness. And I want to share with you a medley, or I guess today we would call it a mashup, of Ernest Holmes' thoughts on this idea of uniqueness. One of the chief cornerstones of the spiritual philosophy is that everything in this universe is a unique individualization or expression of the one thing, which is the cause of all things. And in case you haven't enough coffee this morning, that means God. No two blades of grass are alike. No two grains of sand are alike. No two thumbprints. No two of anything are alike. You exist so that the one creative power may have another, a unique outlet for its expression. You are not only a divine spark, not only an incarnation of the living spirit of the cosmos, but a unique presentation of the cosmic whole. Okay, let's just breathe on that one for a minute. A unique presentation of the cosmic whole. So let's do this time, hand on heart. I am a unique expression of the cosmic whole. I am a unique expression of the cosmic whole. Ernest continues to say, you should become aware that this power is expressing in you in a unique way, and that it is always pressing against you. I love that. It is pressing against you, seeking a fuller outlet of its infinite possibilities through you into its own self-expression. The more life you express, the more of God flows through you. You know, it's true that if it weren't for God, infinite source, divine energy, life itself, whatever term, phrase you want to use, God doesn't care, neither do I. It's true that without God, we wouldn't be, right? I mean, that's obvious, we wouldn't be. It's also very true, I believe, without a connection, a conscious, we're always connected, but without a conscious connection to that divine source, we wouldn't live a fulfilled life. I firmly believe that. It is, however, equally true, I believe, and perhaps this sounds a tad, I don't know, egotistical, but it isn't. I don't think it is, because I say it for all of us with the most profound humility. It is true that if it weren't for you and 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 me, God would not be expressed here in this three-dimensional world. What is Ricky Byers' song? God needs us, right? To shine its light. God needs us to be itself here on this earth, uniquely expressing who we are. So I love, as you can tell already, I love affirmative statements and proclaiming them. And so when I was thinking about your own uniqueness, as our little acronym for today, that puts it out in the second person. But I wanted to bring it into the first person to make it more personal. And honestly, it was on the drive up. I loved having a drive this morning because I got to rewrite my entire talk as I was driving up here. And it occurred to me that the French word for me is moi. 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 Spelled M-O-I. My own individuality. Yeah, right? I love it. Moi, my own individuality. So here's one more thing you get to say, power pose it or not, your choice. I celebrate moi.
I celebrate moi.
And it is because of moi that God is expressed here on this earth. There's a sweet story of a church, a little Catholic church in California. Small little congregation, but of course, as a Catholic church, they have lots of statues, and they have their main statue of Jesus the Christ. And they walk into service one Sunday morning, and they gasp as they walk in because vandals have been in their church, and the hands of the statue of Jesus have been removed. And they were just distraught about this, and the priest called a meeting after the service, and they were talking about what to do, and doing some healing prayer, and talking about fundraising to get a new statue. And so that next week unfolded, and they were doing what they did. And they came back in the next Sunday morning, and they gasped again when they came in, but it was for a different reason. This time, a hand-painted sign was hanging over the statue of Jesus, and it said, "I have no hands, but yours." God has no hands, but ours. There's a beautiful Karen Drucker song. I love Karen Drucker. I love that you sang her this morning. We're going to sing her a little bit again. Another divine download I had as I was driving up. Jackson, bless your heart. Thank you so much. How many of you know the song Blessing to the World of Karen Drucker? A couple of you. I am the hands. I am the heart. I am the voice of spirit on earth, and who I am. And all I do is a blessing to the world. You are. We are. We're going to, Jackson, you're going to give us a little tutorial on this, and then we're going to sing We Are.
It was like this. You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth. And who you are, and all you do is a blessing to the world.
Let's do that one more time now that they've got it.
It's kind of like that.
It's kind of like that.
Here we go.
Here we go.
We are the heart, we are the hands, We are the voice of Spirit on earth, and who we are, and all we do is a blessing to the world.
We'll do that again. We are the heart.
We are the hands.
Sing it like you mean it.
We are the voice of Spirit on earth, and who we are, and all we do is a blessing to the world.
Thank you. Thank you. You guys are a good choir. I hope a lot of them are in your choir.
We
Do you
don't
have a choir?
No.
You need a choir.
No, we don't.
So my question for you this morning is, and I don't want you to give me the answer you think I want to hear, or the answer you should say, right? But the true answer, do you really believe that? Don't even answer it out loud. Do you really believe that you are a unique expression of God, and you are God's hands, you are God's heart, you are God's voice, and you are a blessing to this world? And you came into this world to share your unique, perfect, individualized gifts. And you didn't come to share them in a particular way. I know we can get all crazy about purpose. I had so many people in my 22 years as a church minister, pulpit minister, say, I don't know what my purpose is. I can't figure out my purpose. And maybe some of you have said that. All right, I want to tell you right now, so we do not have to say this ever again. Are you ready? I'm going to tell you what your purpose is. Are you ready? Say yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Your purpose is to be your unique you. That's it. Be your unique you. Now, what you do with that in the world is up to you. And it can change over time. Believe me, I know. It can change over time. I honestly, if you had asked me a year ago, I would not have thought that this would be the first time in 6 months that I would have spoken at a church. I didn't anticipate leaving my community. I didn't anticipate retiring. I actually like to say I've refired because I didn't retire, but I did retire from the pulpit. But a year ago, I didn't expect to do that. Life changed for me. Things happened. Many of you know, maybe you don't. My beloved husband of 30, that's where you got the 30. 30, yeah, there's the 30.
Something.
Yeah, the 30 years, made his transition last May. And doing ministry was something he and I did together. And I, just to be frank and honest with you, couldn't do it without him. Didn't want to do it without him. Lost the spark for it. And it was time. So it was time for me to move to something different. And I feel very blessed to have found this gorgeous women's work, women's empowerment work, which, by the way, I have shared with men, and it works just perfectly with men as well. So I'm branching out beyond women. But your purpose, my purpose, is to be uniquely us, and then share that in the way that lights us up and puts us on fire. And it may be something for a period of time, and then it may be something else, and then it may be something else. And it may not be your career, but it may be what you do on the side. So please set aside, and I've talked to so many people like, I don't know what my purpose is. Here it is again. It doesn't matter what age you are, what you've done, what you haven't done. Now is the time to know your purpose is to be uniquely you and share your unique gifts in the way that you are here to share them and not be ashamed of it. There's a great story of... now I have to look at my notes because I don't know his name. There, Frank Szymanski. Who knows who that is?
Not a clue.
We have one college football fan here in the room, right? Right? So, it was a long time ago too. He was the center for Notre Dame in the 40s, and he was called in a civil suit to testify, and he was on the stand, and the judge says, "So you're a Notre Dame football player?" He says, "Yes, Your Honor, I am." "And what position do you play?" He said, "I play center, Your Honor." And the judge says, "And are you a good center?" And Frank kind of squirms in his seat, and he doesn't say anything for a minute. And then he takes a deep breath, and he said, a little shyly but firmly, "Sir, I am the best center Notre Dame has ever had." Now, the coach was also in that courtroom. And after the trial was over that day, the coach went up to him, and because the coach knew that Frank was a very humble guy. He didn't ever tout himself. And so the coach said, "Well, I don't get it. That was so unlike you. Why would you have said that? It surprised me." And Frank looked at the coach and he said, "Well, coach, I had to. I was under oath." My message for you this morning is to be under oath. Be under oath. To be your unique self. And share your unique self with the world. Because when you do that, then you can be, in a powerful, amazing way, God's hands. God's heart. God's voice. And you will be a blessing to the world. You are a blessing to the world. Say it with me. I am a blessing to the world. And I celebrate myself.
And I celebrate myself.
I'm going to leave you with one more story. Knowing your minister as I do, I suspect she has shared this story. But laugh at it anyway, okay? Even if you've heard it. So there was a young monk who joined the monastery and is reading the canons, all handwritten canons of the organization. Handwritten canons. And this young monk, a little progressive kind of thinker, goes to the abbot, that's the lead guy in this monastery, says, "Father, I'm realizing that these are handwritten. How is that so that they're handwritten?" And the abbot says, "Oh yes, it's tradition that over thousands of years we have made handwritten copies of our tenets so that we just remain pure." And the young new priest says, "Well, what happens if somebody made a mistake along the way?" And then that would just get perpetuated. And the main abbot says, "Oh, gosh, I never thought about that." So one day he went down to the dark caves where the original texts were found. And he didn't come out. And he didn't come out. And he didn't come out. And this young priest gets worried about him. And so he goes down into the dark caves to find the abbot, who's crying. He's wailing. He's kind of bashing his head on the table. And the young priest says, "Oh my gosh, Father, what's wrong? What is wrong with you?" And he said, "There was a mistake. There was a mistake. The word is celebrate." I want you to make no mistakes like that. You are shaking your head at me like, "Oh, geez, Louise." I want you to celebrate your own uniqueness. Let us now anchor that craziness in prayer. If you'll join me and close your eyes. And in this energy of aliveness, in this feeling of power in this sacred and holy room and space, we turn the fullness of who we are, our attention, our mind, our hearts, all of our beingness to that one presence, that one substance, that one source that is back of, to quote our beloved founder, all things. The very essence of life itself, that lives and moves and has its being as me, that breathes as me, that speaks as me, that laughs and loves and cries and grieves and celebrates as me. and as each and every one of us. We are the hearts. We are the hands. We are the voice of Spirit on earth. And as such, knowing the power that lives in my words, I speak my word. I speak my word this morning for this community, words of blessings upon Reverend Kathleen, on the board of trustees, on the practitioners, on every precious volunteer, member and congregant of this community that makes it what it is. Because collectively, this community is God's hands, God's hearts, God's voice in the world. And I speak my word for every individual here and just affirm what we have spoken of this morning and affirm the knowing that we know that we know that we know who and whose we are. And that we celebrate our uniqueness and live on purpose. And in that, God is fully expressed. In deep and profound gratitude that this is so, knowing that it is done because I have spoken my word and the law has said yes, I let it go, I let it be, and together we say,
And so it is.
It is. Amen.